File 13.
Now then, I perceive by your thoughts that you are understanding me fairly well. Let us proceed. Circumstances might so fall out that the elephant could like the spider, supposing he can see it, but he could not love it. His love is for his own kind, for his equals. An angel's love is sublime, adorable, divine, beyond the imagination of man, infinitely beyond it. But it is limited to his own august order. If it fell upon one of your race, for only an instant, it would consume its object to ashes. No, we cannot love men, but we can be harmlessly indifferent to them. We can also like them sometimes. I like you and the boys. I like Father Peter. And for your sakes I'm doing all these things for the villagers. He saw that I was thinking a sarcasm, and he explained his position. I have wrought well for the villagers, though it doesn't look like it on the surface. Your race never know good fortune from ill. They're always mistaking the one for the other. It is because they cannot see into the future. What I am doing for the villagers will bear good fruit some day, in some cases to themselves, in others to unborn generations of men. No one will ever know that I was the cause, but it will be none the less true for all that. Among you boys you have a game. You stand a row of bricks on end a few inches apart. You push a brick, it knocks its neighbour over, the neighbour knocks over the next brick, and so on till all the row is prostrate. That is human life. A child's first act knocks over the initial brick, and the rest will follow inexorably. If you could see into the future as I can, you would see everything that was going to happen to that creature, for nothing can change the order of its life after the first event has determined it. That is, nothing will change it, because each act unfailingly begets an act, that act begets another, and so on to the end. And the seer can look forward down the line and see just when each act is to have birth, from cradle to grave. Does God order the career? Foreordain it? No. The man's circumstances and environment order it. His first act determines the second and all that follow after. But suppose, for argument's sake, that the man should skip one of these acts, an apparently trifling one, for instance. Suppose that it had been appointed that on a certain day, at a certain hour and minute and second and fraction of a second, he should go to the well, and he didn't go. Well, that man's career would change utterly from that moment. Thence to the grave it would be wholly different from the career which his first act as a child had arranged for him. Indeed, it might be that if he had gone to the well, it would have ended his career on a throne, and that omitting to do it would set him upon a career that would lead to beggary and a pauper's grave. For instance, if at any time, say in boyhood, Columbus had skipped the triflingest little link in the chain of acts projected and made inevitable by his first childish act, it would have changed his whole subsequent life, and he would have become a priest and died obscure in an Italian village, and America would not have been discovered for 2 centuries afterwards. I know this. To skip any one of the billion acts in Columbus's chain would have wholly changed his life. I have examined his billion of possible careers, and in only one of them occurs the discovery of America. You people do not suspect that all your acts are of one size and importance, but it's true. To snatch at an appointed fly is as big with fate for you as in any other appointed act. As the conquering of a continent, for instance? Yes. Now then, no man ever does drop a link. The thing has never happened. Even when he's trying to make up his mind as to whether he will do a thing or not, that itself is a link, an act, and has its proper place in his chain. And when he finally decides an act, that also was the thing which he was absolutely certain to do. You see now that a man will never drop a link in his chain. He cannot. If he made up his mind to try, that project would itself be an unavoidable link, a thought bound to occur to him at that precise moment, and made certain by the first act of his babyhood. It seemed so dismal. "He's a prisoner for life," I said sorrowfully, "and cannot get free." "No, of himself he cannot get away from the consequences of his first childish act. But I can free him." I looked up wistfully. "I have changed the careers of a number of your villagers." I tried to thank him, but found it difficult, and let it drop. "I shall make some other changes. You know that little Lisa Brandt?" "Oh, yes, everybody does. My mother says she's so sweet and so lovely that she's not like any other child. She says that she will be the pride of the village when she grows up, and its idol too, just as she is now." "I shall change her future." "Make it better?" I asked. "Yes, and I will change the future of Nikolaus." I was glad this time, and said, "I don't need to ask about his case. You'll be sure to do generously by him." "It is my intention." Straight off, I was building that great future of Nicky's in my imagination, and had already made a renowned general of him, and Hofmeister at the court, when I noticed that Satan was waiting for me to get ready to listen again. I was ashamed of having exposed my cheap imaginings to him, and was expecting some sarcasms, but it did not happen. He proceeded with his subject. "Nicky's appointed life is 62 years. "Well, that's grand," I said. "Lisa's 36. But as I told you, I shall change their lives and those ages. 2 minutes and a quarter from now, Nicholas will wake out of his sleep and find the rain blowing in. It was appointed that he should turn over and go to sleep again, but I have appointed that he shall get up and close the window first. That trifle will change his career entirely. He will rise in the morning 2 minutes later than the chain of his life had appointed him to rise. By consequence, henceforth, nothing will ever happen to him in accordance with the details of the old chain." He took out his watch, and sat looking at it a few moments, and then said, "Nicholas has risen to close the window. His life is changed. His new career has begun. There will be consequences." It made me feel creepy. It was uncanny. But for this change, certain things would happen 12 days from now. For instance, Nicholas would save Lisa from drowning. He would arrive on the scene at exactly the right moment, 4 minutes past 10, the long-ago appointed instant of time, and the water would be shoal, the achievement easy and certain. But he will arrive some seconds too late now. Lisa will have struggled into deeper water. He will do his best, but both will drown. "Oh, Satan! Oh, dear Satan!" I cried, with the tears rising in my eyes. "Save them! Don't let it happen! I can't bear to lose Nicholas. He's my loving playmate and friend. And think of Lisa's poor mother." I clung to him, and begged and pleaded, but he was not moved. He made me sit down again, and told me I must hear him out. "I have changed Nicholas's life, and this changed Lisa's. If I had not done this, Nicholas would save Lisa, then he would catch cold from his drenching. One of your race's fantastic and desolating scarlet fevers would follow, with pathetic after-effects. For 46 years he would lie in his bed as a paralytic log, deaf, dumb, blind, and praying night and day for the blessed relief of death. Shall I change his life back? Oh, no. Oh, not for the world. In charity and pity, leave it as it is. It is best so. I could not have changed any other link in his life and done him so good a service. He had 1,000,000,000 possible careers, but not one of them was worth living. They were charged full with miseries and disasters. But for my intervention he would do his brave deed 12 days from now, a deed begun and ended in 6 minutes, and get for all reward those 46 years of sorrow and suffering I told you of. That's one of the cases I was thinking of a while ago, when I said that sometimes an act which brings the actor an hour's happiness and self-satisfaction is paid for, or punished, by years of suffering. I wondered what poor little Lisa's early death would save her from. He answered the thought. From 10 years of pain and slow recovery from an accident, and then from 19 years pollution, shame, depravity, crime, ending with death at the hands of the executioner. 12 days hence she will die. Her mother would save her life if she could. Am I not kinder than her mother? Oh, yes. Oh, indeed, yes. And wiser. Father Peter's case is coming on presently. He will be acquitted through unassailable proofs of his innocence. Why, Satan, how can that be? Do you really think it? Indeed, I know it. His good name will be restored, and the rest of his life will be happy. I can believe it. To restore his good name will have that effect. His happiness will not proceed from that cause. I shall change his life that day for his good. He will never know his good name has been restored. In my mind, and modestly, I asked for particulars, but Satan paid no attention to my thought. Next, my mind wandered to the astrologer, and I wondered where he might be. "In the moon," said Satan, with a fleeting sound which I believe was a chuckle. "I've got him on the cold side of it, too. He doesn't know where he is, and he's not having a pleasant time. Still, it's good enough for him. A good place for his star studies. I shall need him presently. Then I shall bring him back and possess him again. He has a long and cruel and odious life before him. But I'll change that, for I've no feeling against him, and I'm quite willing to do him a kindness. I think I shall get him burned. He had such strange notions of kindness. But angels are made so, and do not know any better. Their ways are not like our ways, and besides, human beings are nothing to them. They think they are only freaks. It seems to me odd that he should put the astrologer so far away. He could have dumped him in Germany just as well, where he would be handy. "Far away?" said Satan. "To me no place is far away. Distance does not exist for me. The sun is less than 100 million miles from here, and the light that's falling on us has taken 8 minutes to come. But I can make that flight or any other in a fraction of time so minute that it cannot be measured by a watch. I have but to think the journey, and it is accomplished." I held out my hand and said, "The light lies upon it. Think it into a glass of wine, Satan." He did it. I drank the wine. "Break the glass," he said. I broke it. "There? You see it's real. The villagers thought the brass balls were magic stuff and as perishable as smoke. They were afraid to touch them. You're a curious lot, your race. But come along. I have business. I'll put you to bed." Said and done. Then he was gone. But his voice came back to me through the rain and darkness, saying, "Ah, yes, tell Seppi, but no other."